right, many thanks for joining us. I am Laura Amanz, and I'm still here in the studio, but Amaka just stepped out so that we can talk with our core members who have been posted to Ebonyi State, and they are here to enlighten us on what legal aids it's all about in Ebonyi State. So we are so glad to have them in the studio this morning. So on my immediate right, I have Ebonyi Chibuzo Best. He's the president, legal aid core member. Chibuzo, it's a pleasure to have you in the studio.
Thank you.
And of course, on my far left, I also have Eric Kose. I hope I don't murder that name. Eric Kose Peter is a member legal aid core. You're welcome there.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so I want to say a very big welcome to you to Ebonyi State. How has your stay been so far in Ebonyi? You, Chibuzo?
It has been so good. It has been a memorable place that we will have at the back of our mind at the end of our service here. So far so good. It has been a nice place for me.
And for you, Peter?
Thank you. I want to commend the government and the people of Ebonyi State. Ebonyi State is a very peaceful state, and I'm enjoying my stay here in Ebonyi State.
I'm very clean too.
Yes.
Okay, you can attest to that.
Yes,
all right, that's beautiful. I'm glad to know that you're actually here enjoying your stay so far. I hope it will be all like that all through your stay. You know, some of us did this over 30 years ago, and seeing you kids today, I'm like, oh wow, it's like bringing back memories. But I'm glad to have you here. So now let's look at Ebonyi. Let me start with you. When you talk about legal aids and access to justice, what does that mean? When you say legal aids and access to justice, what exactly are you talking about?
Okay, the Legal Aid Council of the Community Development Service under the National Youth Service Corps, it's a platform that houses core members, core lawyers that are currently serving in their place of primary assignment. So as core lawyers, we have responsibility and duty to provide legal services and legal representations in the community or the state we are posted.
Okay, that's basically what you're doing.
Yes.
And now you want to provide that in Ebonyi. So how do you intend to go about that?
Okay, I think on the 19th of this month, we were at the Correctional Center. So we interfaced with inmates, and we took note of some of their cases, and we discovered that some of them, what is actually keeping them in that custody is just a simple or minor offenses that requires going to court and applying for bail application, and some subjecting ourselves to full litigation, full trial, and some as well rendering counseling. So it is part of our responsibility to provide these legal representations to indigent citizens, and we do that by reaching out to people that need our services, just like we did at the Correctional Center on the 19th of this month, and we've also been doing that before this period.
Okay, this aids you're offering, is it pro bono?
Yes, all the legal services, legal representations, from the moment you inform us about your case to the moment you be discharged from court, all the services are free from, you don't pay any dime to us. So it is a pro bono basis.
So how do you get to know about this? I mean, have there been challenges in trying to get maybe to the correctional service centers and all that? Have you, in the course of trying to do this, faced any challenge that you think should be brought to the fore?
Currently, we've not encountered any challenge. We wrote to the correctional center, and our letters were approved, and a date was given to us, and access was granted us, and we had an interactive section with the inmates. So far so good. We've not had any challenge.
All right, that's a good thing to know. Now, Peter, let me ask you. You say the family welfare. when you talk about family welfare as a lawyer, or marriage and all that, what exactly are you talking about? Because when you look at family, you see that it's what really forms the society, the cross of society. And in most of those families, you discover that there are people with challenges like GBV, gender-based violence and all that. So how is your aid, your CDS and all that you're doing going to help in enlightening family members on your services? And if there are issues, how are you going to be going about it as it relates to GBV cases?
When we talk about family, it's where we have a responsible family, the whole society will be responsible. So in our CDS, what we do is we identify reasons that causes disharmony in the family. We have issues that arises from gender-based violence. Gender-based violence we're talking about here is not limited to the man against the woman. It could be the woman against the man, or any member of the family against any of the spouses. It could be parents against child and so on. So here we identify the root cause of gender-based violence. Then when such an issue occurs, you reach out to us. We relate you to the appropriate authorities. There is the Department of Gender-Based Violence in the Ministry of Justice in Ebonyi State here. So what they do is they call together, we use what is known as alternative dispute resolution, which is the first resort, because many people do not want to take their cases to court because they feel that the court process is too elaborate. So at the Gender-Based Violence Department, they take your case at a face-to-face interaction, and those matters are settled amicably. On the contrary, where peaceful settlement phase, it is then they will now resort to the court. You understand? So that is basically what we do. Our essence here today is to enlighten the public as part of our outreach, to let people know that don't suffer violence and die in silence. When in your family, in your home, when you have issues, maybe the man against the woman against the man, you can reach out to us and we help you to take up the case. Pro bono.
All right. It's good that you're reaching out and enlightening people, but there have been issues where even when you try to intervene, and maybe a couple came out, or maybe it could be a male or female, anybody can be abused, or a victim, so to say, or survivor, and then you take up a case and you find them pulling back. Have you had such incidences? And how do you intend to enlighten people on the need to go through when you have reported a case and a case is being handled, and then they start bringing this cultural bias or the issue of stigmatization? How do you intend to handle cases like that? Considering that you guys are quite young and you might be facing some of these cultural barriers.
Yes, that is the reason we are here. We do not just act in isolation. We have the backing of the Ministry of Justice under the Able Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Ebonyi State. We have the backing of the Legal Aid Department in that state. So when we encounter issues that have to do with matters that are above our consideration, we defer to these authorities and we handle it amicably. Then on the issue of stigmatization, the victims are always protected. When it comes to issue of rape, when it comes to issue of cultural barrier, the victim, when you make a report, your identity will be concealed. So there is no need to fear. Just approach the NYSC call lawyers and your matter will be resolved amicably.
Okay, we're going to be talking on how they can reach out to you, because not every case is that or you are brought to the fore. But maybe in the course of the program, you'll be giving us the number or how people can actually reach out to you to access these aids you're given. But meanwhile, let's look at the issue when we talk about GBV. It's not just in families. For instance, in your camps, do you encounter things like that where people have disputes and they go violent, even as you're serving? When things like that happen within core members, are there rules, are there things that you do apart from the ADR, the alternative dispute resolution? What else do you do as core members who might also find themselves involved in GBV?
Well, if it's within our camps, there are laid down rules that handles such issues within our camp. But if it is outside the camp, you either report to your immediate PPA or you make the report to the NYSC. They will take up the matter when it comes to NYSC issues. Yes.
And so what do you do if your PPA, what are the things they can do to ensure that things like that don't happen?
For instance, maybe we have a female serving corps member and maybe she's being harassed by her employer. She has to report the matter to the NYSC secretariat and they will definitely take up the case.
Okay.
Yes.
And if it's a male, is it only female that that can be harassed?
The same thing.
All right, just before I let one of you go, so that we can bring in the lady who is also part of this, team that is trying to make sure that they offer their services while they are here in Ebonyi State. I want to ask you, Chibuzo, finally, before perhaps you might be excusing us in a moment, so that I can bring in our lady here. I'm trying to, offer these services. What are your expectations from Ebonyi State government and from NYSC, the federal government? What do you expect them to offer you? Because you are the president, I assume, of this legal aid. So what are your expectations going forward in a way that it can aid you and, doing your job very well?
Okay. Like I said, so far so good. We've not had any challenge. Our letters, whenever it gets to any office, it has accelerated hearing and approval. What I will be, my expectation will just basically be cooperation from both sectors. In as much as these services are rendered pro bono, the persons we are meeting do not necessarily need to pay. It will be quite discouraging if we encounter difficulties and these bodies are not able to, or willing to help. For instance, writing to the correctional centers and subjecting us to thorough approval of payment of any kind beyond our capacity is something that we will need the cooperation and assistance. So some of these issues do not get over us, do not take over us or take much time.
All right. We'll be calling for a short break now. When we return, we'll continue. Please stay with us. right, we're glad to have you back. And now joining us is Monique Nico. She's the Secretary Legal Aid Corps CDS. Sweetheart, you're welcome.
Thank you very
much. And you're looking very beautiful. It's like you're eating a lot of yam in Ebonyi State. All right, we are glad to have you here in Ebonyi. Now you're looking at the fundamental human rights. When you talk about fundamental human rights and duties of Nigerians and Ebonians in particular, what exactly are you talking about when you say fundamental human rights? Those are things we've been hearing and hearing. So what exactly does that mean?
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am, for the question. So, with regards to fundamental human rights, we're talking about Chapter 4 of the Constitution. Chapter 4 talks about everything you need to know about the human rights. So for the first things first, is Section 33 is talking about right to life. You have a right to live as a Nigerian citizen. And then another thing again is that you need to know that for all these rights, there are exceptions to it. You have to know that every person has their own rights, and when you try to avoid or when you try to implement another person or when you try to breach another person's right, that right stops. So it is fundamental. You have your own right as a human being and as an Ebonyi citizen, but where you try to disrupt another person's life, that right cuts short.
So when you're talking about your right starts from A and ends at B, what can you do to disrupt another person's rights?
For example, just like I mentioned, Section 33 of the Constitution talks about right to life. Every Nigerian citizen has their right to live. Provided that you are in Nigeria and you have your right to live. So where you, as Mr. A, tries to end or cut short the life of Mr. B, you have infringed on that person's right. Another right is Section 35 talks about, or 36 talks about personal liberty. So as a Nigerian citizen, you have a right to walk freely. You have a right to move from one destination to the other without being handcuffed or being arrested by the police. So when you are being arrested, you are supposed to be charged to court immediately. So where you are being retained for a very long time, or you're being retained in police custody for a long time, your right has been breached. This is where another person can breach your right, and many other sections where another person can breach your rights.
Yeah, talking about that liberty and breach of your rights when it comes to, you have been charged or you've been taken to a police station and then you remain there. Now, that has become a recurrent decimal in the Nigerian legal system. So now, with what you're trying to do, how are you going to ensure that such breach of rights or liberties of people, citizens who have been arrested, and does not, carry on like that? I mean, you have people being incarcerated for cases they have not even been charged for. So what are you going to be doing going forward to ensure that such rights, or at least there's a quickened response to such arrests?
All right. So ordinarily, just like I said, the appropriate thing is when you're being arrested by the police, you're to be charged to court. Then when you're being kept without being charged into court, maybe you've not even visited the courtroom, you don't know how it looks. This is where the legal aid comes in to assist you and to aid you to report, to say what is going on with you. Because just like my colleague said, one of the times we visited the correctional center, we met some people that needed such or had such problems. So what we did was to initiate their matters, to start it, to enforce their fundamental human rights. Because the thing is, there's a law to enforcement of fundamental human rights if it has been breached. So you can go to the Federal High Court. The Federal High Court has the jurisdiction to entertain such matters. So you go to the Federal High Court and institute matters to start enforcement of your fundamental human rights.
Okay, outside correctional centers, we've also had incidences where people are kept in police cells. So do you also go to the police cells for that? And if you do, what has been the response? And if there are challenges when you go to the police stations to offer these aids to maybe people that have been arrested? Just quickly.
So that also is also another point where they keep them in the police custody for a very long time. So yes, we also visit the police custody, and we also help people that are there that have been remanded by the police, and we also assist them to ensure that their fundamental human rights is being appropriately enforced.
All right. Oh, this conversation is so sweet, but unfortunately we can't go further than this because we are actually out of time. But it's been a pleasure having you guys. I mean, I'm so excited to see that we still have youths whose heads are together, who are serving and they know why they are serving their motherlands. It's a pleasure to have had Ogoji Chibuzo in the house, who happens to be the president of Legal Aids. Chibuzo, it's been a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
And of course, Erekuse Peter, member of the Legal Aids, it was a pleasure having you here. And to our beautiful sister Nicole Moneke, it's a pleasure. I do hope you enjoy your stay in Ebonyi State. It's a pleasure. And of course, we'll go off now. I want to, say a very big thank you to our Ebu Digital DG who gave this opportunity for them to come and express themselves, and all the core members that came with them who are also at our reception. They're waiting to see the people. Many thanks for watching. We'll be right back after break. All right. Oh, sorry, just before we go, the phone number. Yes, we need to have that phone number. Please, can you call out the phone number that you can reach out to them if you have any needs? Please call out the phone number.
Okay, you can reach out to me through my phone number 0065 319 443.
Please repeat it.
08065 319 443. Or on the alternative, you can also visit our headquarters at opposite the Correctional Center here in Abakaliki.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll go on the break now.